bit of a delay on our end because the Brazil versus Philippines match is taking 5 years due to Brazil coming back. But nonetheless, welcome everybody to the Auss World Cup 2025. One of the last matches today, Turkey versus Uruguay. One of the group stage matches. Turkey has already played one of their group stage matches, has won it against Belgium 5-1. Outside of that, though, none of the Uruguayan players have played this pool, so they're going to be going into it. Essentially, we're going into it blind. We're not going to know exactly what they're going to be picking. But should be an interesting matchup. Seeds are fairly close. I'm Fiery Rage, joined for now by Doomsday. Stage was intended to be here, but Brazil. How's it going, Doomsday?
What's going on, Fiery? Yep, I'm just stepping in while the stage is otherwise occupied. Nice and cozy in here anyway, nice and warm casting booth. Turkey and Uruguay. Turkey honestly establishing themselves as a very solid tournament team, particularly early rounds. So certainly the big dogs of their group in this one. Uruguay, of course, in recent years they've managed to sneak into the top 32. I recall they got actually seed 32 one of the years, and that was really cool to see them finally make it in. But the new format has given them another lease of life.
Unfortunately, they played against the United States that year, and that was not fun for them.
True. I mean, you know, it is what it is, but at least they made it through.
That is true.
Seed 33.
Yeah, and they get to show themselves again on the group stage here. Have a chance to pass into the round of 16 stage proper. We'll see if they're able to do it. All their matches are this weekend, so they're going to have to go at least 2-1, most likely. And it starts with this match right here. Turkey did pretty well overall. As you said, Turkey has been a pretty mainstay in Auss World Cup for the past couple years. I think most of that comes down to Raikoho becoming a tournament player and becoming really prominent in the tournament scene. He's very much the carry on the Turkish roster. There's obviously very good tournament players outside of him, like Lyarr, you got Orke as well. There's still players, but Raikoho obviously is the standout, and I imagine we're going to be seeing him kind of pop off on this pool and for the rest of the stage if he gets to round of 16. Nonetheless, band stage is already over. No Mod 5 precision ban out for Turkey, which is not surprising. Uruguay did pretty well on the precision in qualifiers, and Turkey did not. So they're hitting that out. Hidden 2 banned out from Uruguay, not wanting to deal with reading. Fair enough. To get into the first pick.
Yep, pretty straightforward. We'll see how we go with the pick from Turkey, and I feel like in this matchup, Turkey are going to have the pick of the litter for a lot of the different skill sets here. Uruguay are going to be relying on a lot of their mechanics, you'd imagine. They did some very solid scores, as you mentioned, on that precision pick, but they won't get it here. But they did do very well on the streamer picks. They had a solid run on the ult pick in the qualifiers as well, which just opened up some of those control maps. Things like the double time 3 glass could come into that potentially, but against a team like Turkey, they've got the control players to cover this pool very well. There's certainly a no mod 2 pick to open up. I don't think Uruguay are going to be too worried about this one to start things off. Speed.
Kind of an interesting first pick, honestly. Uruguay did really well on the no mod 2 in qualifiers. Granted, that is 195 BPM, this is 230, so it's a whole different ballpark. But they are competent at streams, so to see Turkey lean into this at first is interesting, but maybe just wanting to get rid of it off the bat. And it's always a power move picking into what your opponent's good at, so little mind games potentially going on there.
I mean, if you take 50-50 maps early on, that's a great way to kick off a match, and then it leaves your more, I guess, one-sided your maps for later on when things are getting a bit closer potentially, or if you just need to seal it out, one of the two. Yeah, like, this being a pure tapping pick, it's all comfort if you can do the speed. So it could be a nice way to ease into the OWC mode, I suppose, or something like this.
Yeah, building on your point that you mentioned earlier, the United States roster, back when I was still on it around 2020, we always used to pick a precision into teams for our first pick just to get it out of the way because we didn't want to deal with it later on down the line.
Right.
It is a very valid strategy, so.
It helps to clean the board of stuff you really don't want to play right off the bat. I could see it. The last thing you want is, like, you know, to be on, I don't know, a couple points from the end and then you get some map you just really hate pop up. I can imagine that's just demoralizing.
Teams are already ready pretty much instantly. We got Raikaho, Gainfile, YRR Clutch inside of Türkiye, and Little Fed, Ploxaru, Helvetia, and Melody for Uruguay. Getting into the map. First map of the match. We'll see how it goes.
Looks like it's the same squad that played this in the first match for Turkey. And they played this against Belgium. They got a 3.3 mil score there and some crazy scores in that lobby. I dare not repeat them, but I wonder if Raikaho could do it again.
I will repeat it. Raikaho got an SS during that. We'll see if he can manage to replicate that. YRR not too far behind with an FC, and I already jinxed it. Let's go!
Let's go! I tried. I tried so hard, mate.
I already got it once, don't worry about it.
Nice opening from both sides, though. A couple of early breaks from Uruguay, but it's so early on. The ending of this has some particularly hard patterns on the aim side. So later on, those could split the teams, but another break there from Little Fade and Ploxaru. Gonna hurt the Uruguayans here.
2 FCs to 4 early on. Fourth of the map done. It's going to be building up a sizable score lead for Turkey. I don't really having any issues from anyone on the roster, really. Some ACK drops from Clutch and YRR, but not anything crazy, really. There goes Helvetia on the side of Uruguay, so only 1 FC now, and this is getting really out of hand very, very quickly.
The Melody is not going to be able to do it on their own. Nice 99% there, coming into the second half, but he's going to see it at the break. He's against a 4-way FC. Melody against the world here. Turkey know, well, they got so much insurance going into the harder part of this map. When those aim parts start stepping up, but they've got insurance right now.
It is possible that having the FCs might make them a bit more complacent or shaky. There goes down Clutch with one of the FCs. It's not going to be the end of the world, though. Little Fade to trade it. I think even at this point, if all the combos on Turkey miss, and it's not even going to matter since Melody missed as well, so no FCs on the side of Uruguay to counter. The triple FC and still going for Turkey with insane accuracy on most of these players. Even YRR not too far behind on the 99%, just shy of it. Of course, as soon as I mention it, he's dropping a lot of 100s, but doesn't matter. Triple FC, 3.5 million, 200k better than their previous score. Not much Uruguay could have done there.
Yeah, clean as you like. First pick, once again, from Turkey, and once again, it's dominating. 1.2 million, that's huge. Another big score from Raikaho with the 3 100s. It's not an SS, but it's damn near close enough. Over 1 mil on Nomod is a rare sight.
Yeah, YRR and Raikaho doing what they did in the first match, FCing this, Gainfoil fixing the 2-miss 850k that they got, FCing it now. I would not be surprised in Turkey's next match to see that completely banned out.
No,
probably
yeah.
just not wanting to deal with it.
I mean, so many teams find that as a comfort pick, and Uruguay are getting shaken by it. You don't really want to give a team something like that. An anchor map almost, but we'll see what Uruguay's anchor is going to be. Next pick in tow. Got no precision to deal with, but they do still have Hard Rock 2 if they want to try and abuse that a little bit. Maybe a different map to the No-Mod precision. Obviously, that No-Mod one is very gimmicky. Hard Rock 2, Show Off Showdown, much more Route 1 in terms of precision picks.
I also do have Free Mod 2 open, which is probably the most immediate comparison to No Mod 2 in the qualifiers. As I said, Uruguay did very well on the No Mod 2 in qualifiers. Over 700k higher than Turkey's score, as a matter of fact. So I feel like at some point that is probably going to be picked. I'm not sure if it's going to be right now. Maybe they want to settle in with something else. DT3 is a bit interesting. This is the alt-oriented DT, and that there was an alt-oriented DT in the qualifiers pool. Uruguay lost that in terms of score to Turkey, 500k. So this is a bit of an interesting pick. We'll see how Uruguay does on this. They are definitely a more double-time oriented team, so I'm not too surprised to see this, but I feel like DT1 might have been what I would have expected, at least, if they were going to be picking into DT first.
I do see this though, to be fair, because this map is more or less the analog to like the alt pick, closer to something like a No Mod 3, and Uruguay did extremely well on the No Mod 3 in the qualifiers. So this is up that alley if they want to stick to their, what they've done well so far in this. Although this being a very different style of map to that No Mod one, much more snappy, much more about individual patterns with tiny little micro movements, rather than like a full bore, flowy, snap aim No Mod 3, right? You'd usually see. Bit of a different flavour.
Mapped by Flask, staple in OWC at this point, is mapped for the past 5 years, I want to say.
Must have been. Feels like it's been longer. Flask maps are just a mainstay in World Cup. He's such a versatile mapper, so he's not surprised he's been a go-to for the pooling team to whip up something.
I usually always see as one of the favorite maps across the entire tournament, by both players and the poolers, for that matter. It should be a very interesting matchup here. Getting the rosters in, Orke comes in on the side of Turkey, as well as Shinkiro. Rebo finally coming in on Uruguay, the mainstay player I think most players would point to. Very well-known speed player.
Certainly in Uruguay's last appearance in the World Cup, Rebo was instrumental in a lot of the points they won. There's just such a strong all-rounder. It's good to see him back in here for this outing.
I said speed player, and I said speed player, which is my bad, but he is a stream player. So.
Yeah. Most definitely. I remember a huge carry on, I think it was one of the previous No Mod 2s in Uruguay's last OWC outing, just really sticking out. Huge carry on that one. Let's see if he can do well on this ult pick. Turkey with a slightly different roster to what played the map last time. The Spray was in last time, but not going to be in this time. It's going to be Orke subbing in for them. Solid substitution, I'd say.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Not too much to miss on in the beginning here. Relatively short intro until the map starts proper. Obviously, no one can have really good accuracy, though, as there's a lot of weird snappings in this beginning, but combos will be remaining intact, which is the most important part. Here we go into the map.
On the middle part of this is where the bigger difficulty spikes come in. There's some pretty intense strain around the halfway point that catches out a lot of players. So far at the moment, though, and no real early breaks to talk about early on. Both teams settling into a nice rhythm. Scratch that, there goes Melody. First break will go to Uruguay.
Yeah, I had to mention something, didn't you?
Yep.
They're holding on to the 4-way FC. Miss won't be the end of the world. The score lead is still within 200k, and there it goes. Not 200k, 20k, and there it goes immediately over to Uruguay. Orke and Clutch both missing on the same pattern. Ploxar and Melody trade it. Slight combo advantage in favor of Turkey, but not by much.
The tempo stepping up now just a little bit. Hard patterns coming up here. We'll see who can hold on to them. Very well poised this with 2 FCs to 2. There goes Rebo. And again, it's just Helvetia for Uruguay. 2 FCs hold for Turkey. Shinkiro and Raikoho FC that section. And finally, they get a little bit of an advantage in this matchup on this map. And they're going to start to run away with it a little bit with a nice recovery from Clutch too through that hard pot.
Yeah, 200k and growing, even with Orke missing and struggling a bit on the ending section here. It's just not going to matter. Not enough combo on the side of Uruguay to contest these 2 FCs, even with Helvetia closing out a very nice 99.73 FC. Doesn't matter since Raikoho got the exact same accuracy, so that FC is effectively canceled out 3v3 wise. Turkey won by having another FC.
If you're matching Raikoho in a tournament setting, I think you've done pretty well for yourself. Very well played for Helvetia there. That's a brilliant score. And honestly, they looked good on that. I can see why they picked it. They looked great on that. Just a slight difference on those high combos through the hard part. 2 FCs holding through that was huge for Turkey.
The sporting score from Clutch as well. Helping to cancel out the, I think, overall better team consistency on that from Uruguay. Just Unfortunately, you had 2 FCs and you only had 1 on your side, so it's going to put you at an inherent disadvantage.
Not quite the start Uruguay would have wanted, but they can take heart from that performance. I think on similar maps they could do pretty well going forward here. Some of the pure ulti stuff left in the pool is a different flavour, though. We'll see where they go next time. Turkey with lots of speed to pick if they want to go into more tapping. Double time 2 Elder Things still open there for speed.
Double Time 2 is the most obvious tapping-oriented map if they want to go for that. Free Mod 2 is also tapping. I don't think Turkey would necessarily want to opt for that, since Uruguay had a really nuts team score on No Mod 2 in qualifiers, as we said. Outside of that, could be a potential... Oh, yeah, well, there's the tapping. DT2.
There it is. Alright. Fair enough. If you know what you want. If you want to play tapping, you go play tapping. We ain't gonna stop you. Although again, Uruguay's tapping side can do damage on maps like these. Turkey definitely picking some 50-50s here, but I guess they just really want to play tapping today. The Sposter's ready for tapping. Why not play what you want to play? But it's honestly a little bit brave here. I guess if you win these picks, then that does put Uruguay in a pretty nasty situation. But so far it's working for Turkey.
Yeah, best of 9 situation when you give up a breakpoint this early on and when you're able to consolidate a breakpoint this early on, it puts you at a pretty massive advantage. And for the rest of the map, for the rest of the match, you can just win your picks, and you only have 2 basically at that point. So if you win 2 of more of your picks, you're done.
This map's been quite popular in the group stages, of course, as the tapping maps always are. This one is pure speed, not much aim, not much spacing, lots of bursts into bursts at 255 BPM. They are 8.5, so it's about AR10 with DT on. And it's quite a long map as well. I believe even note bursts in this as well, dotted through, just to make sure you can't just purely mash it. You need to be able to play this to be able to get a high combo on a map like this.
In terms of qualifier results, Turkey led by 300k on the last DT2, which is somewhat similar to this. Not anything crazy, though. Dan coming in on the side of Uruguay, the resident speed player on the team.
Yep.
Has been a staple on their roster.
Yeah, Dane at this point is very experienced. Been around for a long time. Hasn't had a chance to play too many OWCs, of course, but now finally he gets a chance to strut his stuff once again. They're stepping out for the speedier map, but a lot of the players in the Uruguay team there already played quite a few maps so far. They are bedded in and warm. Whereas Turkey bringing in Yagin Foil. Liar's come back in as well. Clutch going to continue sticking there, see if he can clutch this one out. I think in many ways, this being Uruguay's first matchup against the top seed, it's a good way for them to get their eye in with the rest of their matches coming up. But nevertheless, with so many maps being picked by Turkey that kind of play into their strengths, give them a chance to bed in on some of their stronger picks, but also possibly give away some info to their opponents in the future.
Well, if they win this match, they're up 2-1 in their group, so they don't have too much to worry about in that regard, I think. But obviously, a point differential is going to matter if there are ties, so always got to think about that. Early stages of this map here, not anything crazy. Melody struggling a bit in the accuracy department in the early stages, but not going to matter, especially with 2 breaks coming up, 3 breaks coming in from the Turkish side. Liar RR, Clutch, and Beanfoil all missing. Slider breaking, I think, primarily, now going to be missing as well. This is a very good start for Uruguay, the first one you've seen in this entire match, really.
There we go, an opportunity here, a big one. Just Raikoho left, he looks very comfortable. Strong chance he holds this combo through the rest of the map, but with 4 FCs on Team Uruguay, they have room to maneuver here. Accuracy down on a couple of their players, but 97% is still very serviceable.
Then it going to be the first to fall on Uruguay's side. Not traded by anyone on the Turkish side, but it doesn't matter. Combo advantage still somewhat in favor of Uruguay right now. If one of the FCs drops, it might shift over to Turkey, but it's going to be just like that. Okay, never mind. Game foil also missing, so cancels out the Ploxari trade.
Advantage is still with Uruguay. They have 400k at the final third. That's a huge advantage. It might even be unassailable at this point. The solo coming in. One of the longest streams in the map here. Not phasing anyone with those big combos. Everyone on Uruguay gets through it. That might just be enough to seal this one and get Uruguay on the board here, Fire.
Yeah, I don't think it matters what happens at this point. Raikaho with an insane AC FC, but it's matched by 2 FCs from Melody and Helvetia. Very solid supporting scores from essentially the entire Uruguayan team. No one really having a bad map here. Team consistency from the last map playing a large factor here and helping them secure their first point. Break point, not going to matter. It's taken right back. 3 FCs. Raikaho, insane accuracy, as we kind of expect from him at this point. And very good scores from Melody and Helvetia, especially Melody, struggling on the accuracy in the beginning, but cleaned up very nicely towards the end.
Raikaho was on a high 99 for so much of that, just dropping a little bit at the end. But once again, Raikaho is just a crazy player, and he's showing it again. The Uruguay as a team on that speed looking real good. Turkey dropping a breakpoint there. Some of those speed picks, one of them will bite them back. Uruguay for the next pick, and they picked control last time. Did they go for some more control? Or do they twist the knife? There's one more DT left, but it's DT1, it's aim, and it's not been very popular. Not many people have picked that desire shooting.
If they want to stick with DT, it's not necessarily a bad pick. As we said, Uruguay is a primarily DT roster, and they did pretty decently on the DT1 in qualifiers, not too far behind Turkey's placement on it. About, once again, a 300k difference, and well, we saw that matters in the DT2, so they have that to go for. They might also opt for Fremont 2, as we were mentioning. Outside of that, though, not too sure what they would opt to go for, really, outside of those 2 maps.
I wonder if it's worth just leaving that DT1 to be picked by Turkey, maybe. If they really want to play the speedy stuff. But ultimately, Uruguay have 2 routes here. There's also Free Mod 2, Nightmare Invitation, essentially a stream map. It's your normal No Mod 2, but it's in Free Mod. They want to stick with more tapping there. Then you bring in Free Mod, and you're bringing in those mod players, and Turkey can make great use of those. They have great mod specialists.
Alright, Hard Rock 2 is a map that exists. I completely forgot about that.
Yep. This has been super popular, man. We've seen this a lot. The OS original from Memo Demo, Show Off Showdown. Absolute tune.
Yeah, not too surprising to see this picked after the No Mod 5 ban on the side of Turkey. Precision, Uruguay didn't necessarily do the best in qualifiers, placement number 37 overall, but Turkey also did not do well on this. That is a complete lie, by the way. I just lied to everyone's face. Turkey actually got 500k more on the qualifiers Hard Rock 2 than Uruguay, but they definitely have a roster that's capable of this. Obviously, Rebo, I feel, is going to be doing really well on this. Hopefully to match Raikaho, who has FC'd every map so far.
Uruguay taking the time to build their squad here. I guess they're getting in there, getting a couple players in, really. We haven't seen any Hard Rock in this matchup yet, so it's a bit different here. Darn it back in. I imagine Rebo should surely be joining back in. Melody and Helvetia, probably the 2 most likely ones to join for this. We're seeing little Fade join, though.
There's Rebo. Ploxaru seems to be the 3rd.
Alright.
Overall team, I think overall, fairly decent team consistency for Uruguay all around on the Hard Rock mod, so not too surprised to see some other choices come in here. Helvetia is going to be coming in, though, so you were correct on that. Danet actually going to be swapping out, and Melody going to be coming in. So 3 of the 4 you got correct. It's going to be Danet swapping out for Ploxaru in the end.
Whew. I was sweating a little bit there. I was like, oh, hang on. This don't look right. But no, it's pretty Route 1 for Uruguay. Turkey's team builds itself on maps like this.
Yeah, I think expect some pretty high scores from Raikaho, obviously, and Orke is a pretty notable Hard Rock player as well.
Yeah. So many players on Turkey that would generally prefer the Hard Rock diff settings for reading comfort. Even with the mechanical difficulty, they have great coverage on the red mod.
The red mod.
The red mod. Well, depends on the skin in it, but...
I mean, it is red in this skin, so you got it right on that at the least.
It's picked by the blue team. Another brave choice, but maybe on paper this could be a heads-up pick for them. Fairly ulty precision pick this. Short burst streams and aim control are the name of the game on this one.
Not too surprising to see them pick into it after DT3 was aim control focused, and they almost did win that, but untimely breaks at the end shifted it over to the Turkish side. Pretty lengthy Hard Rock 2 pick, so lots of opportunities for misses. We do see one early on from Rebo, and Clutch just missing on thin air.
Oh my god.
That is turbo unfortunate.
That was so sad. Well, I mean, at the moment, Uruguay have a slight lead based on that, but the map's starting to pick up now. Melody drops their combo slightly with Turkey now. They're going to reel that back in. The FC's 2-2 now.
Clutch misses again, but not going to matter. Clutch struggling, I think, the most out of everyone in this, having a 95% accuracy. Not going to matter, though, if his team is triple FCing to cover him. Helvetia drops as well. It's just Ploxaru on the FC. The score lead is going to start to shift pretty rapidly towards the Turkish side if things hold as they are right now, and seems like that's going to be the case, as all 3 of these players don't have any issue whatsoever here.
The accuracy on Melody is looking so good. It's just an unfortunate break there. Gonna sever the combo. Rebo recovering nicely. Some act drops though. He looks a little bit shaky on this, but at the moment it's out of Uruguay's hands. 3 FCs on this one are rather terrifying as we get into the final drop here.
They're going to be seeing a triple FC at the break. Once again, we could see a potential nerves kicking in at this point, as we saw in Nomad 2, where we had a similar... Well, it doesn't matter anymore. Ploxaru with the FC gone, Melody supporting combo gone. That is going to be the death sentence for Turkey on this map, as they're looking to close out a triple FC on this, which is honestly crazy.
We've seen some very good scores on this, but we're approaching 3 mil and rising here. Orke gets a break, so it's only 2 FCs. Make that 1. There goes Shinkiro. There's only 1 left, and take a guess who it is. Raikoho will not be denied. Or will he? Shouldn't speak too soon.
It's a relatively calm ending, so I think he's got this in the bag, unfortunately, for anyone that doesn't want Turkey to win, I suppose, but it doesn't matter. Raikoho, 4 out of 4 now, all with 99%. Absolutely insane performance coming from him. Helvetia as well at 99. Unfortunate 1 misses from a lot of their Uruguayan roster, unfortunately. 1 misses from Orke and Shakiro as well. Just 3 players on the Turkish side doing very, very good on that. And Uruguay's overall team consistency not able to push them over the edge.
Let's see you try and take this away.
Possibly an unlucky run there for Uruguay. I mean, their lowest score was 500k. But the individuals on Turkey managing to make the difference up. Again, I see why they picked it. Maybe when the chips fell a little bit different, it could have gone better for them, but not today. Turkey with a 2-point lead now, looking firmly in control with the next pick in tow. But if they keep picking speed, they are going to be playing with fire. We'll see what they do.
Fortunately, there isn't any speed maps really remaining. The only stream map that is remaining is Free Mod 2. DT1 is an option if Uruguay Actually, it's not Uruguay picking. I'm stupid. Turkey has the option of picking a fair amount of different choices here. I think Hard Rock 1 after Hard Rock 2 is a pretty valid pick. Nomad 1 also, if they want to go into generic aim, they did pretty well on that in qualifiers, especially compared to Uruguay. Wouldn't be too surprised to see those two picks coming out.
Oh, there it is.
It's going to be the Nomad 1.
I mean, this map has been unusually very unpopular. I mean, Nomad 1 aim maps are becoming less popular than they used to be, but even so, this has barely seen play. And to be fair, when it has seen play, it's not worked out for the picking team too well. The Turkey clearly showing some confidence for picking into no mod aim against Uruguay. As you mentioned, they did look pretty good on it on paper, and this map being pretty high on that aim strain will suit those players with great confidence on their team, the least of which Raikoho should be pretty dangerous on this.
You just want to keep mentioning his name so he misses at some point in this match, don't you?
Well, I'm trying to prove a point that the caster curse is inevitable. Even if you're a player like Raikoho, dude hasn't missed yet. It's not okay.
Fair enough. Consistency on the lower stages is honestly ridiculous.
Yeah. Nevertheless, though... Oh, sorry, go on.
The overall team consistency on Uruguay is what's going to be playing a key factor going forward here. They have all had pretty similar scores. There's not really a standout performer on Uruguay at the moment. If they can muster up a very solid team score, that's what's going to matter the most against Turkey.
Helvetia so far has had a great matchup, top scoring 2 maps for his team, getting second place and a couple others. Steps in the lobby here again. Wonder if they're going to be playing this one in particular. But nevertheless, expecting players like Rebo back in for this. He's more of a sort of stream player, but still will be very well suited for a map like this when you need a performance on one player. Rebo has already proved it, and there he is.
The generic rosters in for the side of both teams. See, El Malanga, I believe, his first appearance in this match, and Levi as well. Outside of that, though, the other 3 players, I think, remaining the same from the Hard Rock, too, so... See how they do on generic aim.
That is a very good point. It's the Turkish song, so clearly that's why they've picked it. They just want the home court advantage on this. Fair play. You know what? Yeah. Maybe this is the team, the chosen ones.
You could say that to the UK and US about a lot of their picks if they wanted to go into English songs, and usually that doesn't play out that well for them, but this map gets right into it. Intense aim throughout, not really any break times whatsoever, and we're already seeing a lot of misses from the transition there. Very long song, so those early misses won't be the end of the world, but it does give Uruguay a slight advantage in the early stages of this map here.
Yeah, the patterns there you saw are pretty much what to expect from the rest of the map. Those sort of 1/3 jump patterns, some linears, some sharp angles, all the way through. The usual sort of diff spike setup of the verses are a little bit easier than the choruses. But the aim strain doesn't really let up too much the whole way. First big chorus here, and a couple breaks there. One on the side of Turkey, Melody for the side of Uruguay. So far it's 2 FCs to 2, and it is in favour of Uruguay here. Really is now. Levi dropped. It's only Raikoho left with a full combo for Turkey. So far so good here for Team Blue.
And again, the team consistency, that's what I'm talking about. That's what's going to matter for Uruguay here. Overall team, they're just performing way better than Turkey right now on this map. Shinkiro, Raikoho with the combos on Turkey, but they're up against 3 of their own combos on Uruguay, 2 FCs to boot. Still plenty of map remaining. 100k score lead can be gone in an instant. But looking pretty comfortable as we enter the second hard part here. And there goes Shinkiro.
That's another one for Turkey. That's going to hurt them even more. That was a big recovery as well. No breaks yet from Uruguay through this chorus. Second half of this hard part. They're all still going. Levi breaks again for Turkey. El Malanga finally drops. That's an FC down, but it is still looking good here for Uruguay.
Yeah, that FC is traded by Levi and Shinkiro, both missing pretty frequently. Melody does trade one of those as well. So it is Orke, Raiko versus Ploxaru and Rebo at the moment to get into the 2/3 of the point. And there goes Rebo. Combo advantage now in favor of Turkey, but is there enough map remaining for that to matter?
There's still a whole third of the map to go, you know, and Ploxaru now, he needs to just take a breath. He just needs to keep his cool. If he breaks, it could be danger zone for Uruguay. But if he holds, surely they're fine. Oh my god, wait!
Yeah, that's your fault. That's your fault. And now the Turkish are coming. Orke does miss. That halts the advance temporarily. Is there enough time for Raiko solely to carry it over the finish line? That was a really unfortunate slider break for Ploxaru.
That was so unlucky, mate.
I don't think it's going to matter, though. If Orke held, it would have been a lot more disastrous, but it's going to come very close at the end here. I'm not sure if there's enough time. There might be. Raiko still holding on to the FC. This is going rapidly over to Turkey. Will there be enough time, especially with the misses from Rebo? Everyone is missing on the Uruguay side. It just shifts over at the very end. From those misses alone at the very end. Raiko does just enough with a 1x100 FC to just barely shift it over, and Turkey are on match point.
Oh my god. Dude, Raiko pulling his best Bubbleman impression right there. That's a crazy carry. That's an insane carry from Raiko. It's 5 FCs in 5. What is this guy, dude? Uruguay they're so unlucky. They looked so good during that. Ploxaru with the most unfortunate break. A slider break and a miss. That was it. But honestly, Raiko, this guy is worth his weight in gold. To this Turkish side, he's gold dust.
See what you did there.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it's just absolutely ridiculous, the consistency on Raiko. And that played a huge factor in Turkey getting that point there. Everyone was missing on the ending. And the only combo to remain was him. And that just immediately shifted the score lead over. Uruguay facing match point now, 4-1. Gonna have to win 2 of their own picks and 1 of Turkey's. And the map pool is dwindling in size, so what do they opt to go for here? We were mentioning earlier, I think DT1 and Fremont 2 are probably the most obvious 2 picks. I would not be too surprised to see Uruguay opt to go for, but after, I guess even with the Nomad one, they just got very unlucky breaks, so generic aim is still very much on the table, I think, for Uruguay. They can definitely do well on that, so DT1 is an option. Fremont 2 will be the first option they go for, which is, as we were saying at the very beginning, not really that surprising.
No, it is going to be more tapping. I mean, why not? If they got the point on the tapping, they'll go for a little bit more here. This one, though, more on the flow aim side. 195 BPM is not really going to be too much of a stamina challenge for everyone, but the aim certainly will be. Particularly at the end of this, there's some very hard patterns at the end, which have caused a lot of problems for a lot of teams. Picking this, though, does play to their strengths, and what's worked for them so far this matchup, which they really need right now. I don't think Turkey played this in their first matchup. I will double check that, I could be wrong. I believe they did. It's the first time they've played this here.
Which is kind of surprising with a team as strong on streams as Turkey is, but it's a bit more of an RNG pick, I suppose.
Yeah, but with their mod players as well, I'm surprised they haven't. Maybe they just haven't got around to it. They didn't need it last time. I wonder how the mods are going to fall, though, for them. They put Raiko on the no mod, or they stick him on hard rock, as he does tend to take. They've got enough mod players that they could potentially put the mod on someone else. As for Uruguay, though, I imagine we're seeing a similar roster to what we saw on something like the DT2. Could see Little Fade come in for this as well, who didn't play that one. There he is. Looks like the same squad, I think, near enough. Oh, minus Helvetia. Helvetia played the No Mod 2 qualifier, but darn it, going to be subbing in for them. Maybe. He just left the room.
Perhaps. To be determined.
Oh, who's it going to be? Let's see what you could have won.
I think it's worth talking about the mod combos at the very least. Helvetia going to be finally coming in on the Uruguayan side.
There he is, yeah.
One player on either team needs to take Hard Rock and Hidden. So you have, at the very least, 2 players with mods that are required. The other 2 can go no mod. We'll see if any of these teams opt to overmod. I imagine there's Rebo on the Hidden, which he is more than capable of playing, so not horribly surprising to see him on that. Ploxaru on the Hard Rock. Raikoho on the Hard Rock is a bit interesting. I thought he would have wanted to just stick with the no mod consistency, but might as well go for Hard Rock, I guess. And Shinkiro on the Hidden to counteract Ploxaru. Other than that, though, no mods to speak of.
Match point for Turkey. A win here gives them 2 wins in 2 and puts them in a brilliant spot to get out of this group. This being Uruguay's first matchup, they're still very much in this if it doesn't go their way, but nevertheless they'll want to start off their campaign strong.
I don't know, not having any issues with the space streams in the beginning, so settling into this map quite nicely for everyone.
Yeah, great scores across the board. All 8 players doing fantastic on the opening patterns. But here come the drops. Helvetia drops there. Might be Bancho at that time, not too sure.
I think that was an actual drop. It looked like he misaimed the stream there. So, at the break, 7 FCs still in tow. Just that one miss from Helvetia, and it's not going to be the end of the world, assuming some of these breaks finally clutch missing on again! Just some random pattern after the break!
It's unlucky, man. It happens to all of us, but that does make things pretty scary now in the second half of this. It's 3 FCs to 3. All the mod scores are up and running. Geenfort with a huge chain miss. That's a massive chain miss from Turkey. Little Fade drops like 1 note there, but it is 2 FCs to 2.
Wait, that was just... How did Bancho make a chain miss? What? I've never seen that happen before.
Well, either way, it means Turkey's fine. It's 3 FCs to 2. Turkey are in advantage. Clutch is not happy, but his team has got him just fine.
Yeah, Clutch having some pretty unfortunate misses, but it's not going to matter when Little Fed and Helvetia drop on the side of Uruguay. They're going to need 1 more of these FCs at minimum to drop for Turkey, and we are vastly running out of map very quickly for that to be anything of the case here. There goes Shinkiro. Clutch misses again. It might be enough. Little Fed trades 1 of it, but that's still combo advantage in favor. Oh my god, that's shipping very fast. Oh my god.
It's not.
The ending is going to determine it. The ending is going to determine it. Ploxaru slider breaks on nothing!
Alright, to the MP we go. What happened there? There's a bunch of winners. I think that is a win for Turkey. It's 19k for Turkey. So close. It's the double mod FC for Uruguay. Ploxaru and Rebo. And then, of course, you got to shout out Raikoho. Another FC. 6 out of 6 full combos for Raikoho is inhuman. Well played to Turkey.
I think that's building on his prior performance as well. I need to double check just to verify. He played, I think, in every map besides No Mod 3 in the Turkey versus Belgium match. And Hidden 1. But outside of that, he FC'd... No, he didn't. He broke on Free Mod 1. So he has FC'd every single map that he's been in for, except for 1. At the moment.
That's
actually ridiculous team consistency. Or not team consistency. Ridiculous overall individual consistency from him on that.
Honestly, Team Turkey there with a big win and some really strong individual performances as well outside of Raikoho. Shinkiro has some very good scores there. Nice run on the last map there from Geenfoil as well with a no mod. But shout out to Uruguay. They made a lot of those maps very close. Rebo Ploxari with some very good scores, particularly on that last map, Helvetia in particular. Across that matchup, had a lot of very solid performances. Can be proud of that. And they can take heart going into their next 2 games, which have yet to be played. Their fate in this tournament is still very much in Uruguay's hands. We'll see how they do later on this weekend in the next 2 games.
And they look pretty confident on a lot of these maps, honestly. Even if it didn't go their way. It was barely just favored for Turkey on 2 of the maps. Could have gone literally either way on those if a couple misses went a different way. So they were looking pretty strong. Going to be up against Belgium and Argentina to close out their overall group. They're most likely going to have to win both, facing elimination from the group stage. It is possible that all 3 of the teams go 1-2, but for now, that's going to do it for us. Finland versus Romania is happening on the mainstream after being delayed a bit by Philippines versus Brazil. The reverse sweep, unfortunately, not real. Did not happen.
It was fake. But it was a good attempt, though. Very good attempt.
It was a good attempt. It was a good attempt. Bringing it from a 4-0 to a 4-3 is still very much commendable. But right now, Finland 3-1 against Romania. We'll get you guys to that, and that's going to be the last match for today. Remaining matches will be scheduled for tomorrow, starting at 9 ETC with Singapore versus Greece. That's going to do it for us, though. I'm Fiery Rage. That's Doomsday. We'll see you guys tomorrow.